Welcome everyone to the Mysterious Shadow YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to tell horror stories that happened in the forest, that happened to people who are camping. Enjoy listening to you all. Jason, Sarah, Emily, and Mark set up their camp deep within the forest. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows and turning the sky a dusky purple. They had chosen a spot near an old, gnarled oak tree, its massive branches spreading out like protective arms. As night fell, the forest grew ominously silent. The usual sounds of wildlife seemed to vanish, replaced by an unsettling stillness. The campfire flickered and crackled, casting long, dancing shadows that seemed to move of their own accord. The four friends sat close to the fire, its warmth and light a comforting barrier against the encroaching darkness. Jason meticulously arranged their gear, while Sarah collected more firewood from the edge of the clearing. Emily was organizing their food supplies when she felt a sudden chill, as though someone or something was watching her. She glanced around, but saw only the dark shapes of trees. Mark walked down to the nearby stream to fill their water bottles. The forest felt oppressive, the silence heavy and unnatural. As he filled the bottles, he heard a faint, rhythmic tapping sound coming from deeper in the woods. He paused, listening intently, but the sound ceased as abruptly as it had begun. Back at the camp, Sarah noticed the tapping too, her eyes darting towards the darkness beyond the firelight. Jason looked up, his expression tense. Emily, now visibly uneasy, moved closer to the fire, seeking its warmth and light. Mark returned, the sound of his footsteps startling the others. He handed out the water bottles, his face pale. The tapping started again, louder this time, and it was clear it was coming from multiple directions. It was as if the forest itself had come alive, intent on unsettling them. The fire crackled louder, almost as if in response to their growing fear. Shadows danced wildly around the clearing. Jason grabbed a flashlight and shone it towards the source of the tapping. The beam cut through the darkness, revealing only dense underbrush and the twisted shapes of trees. The tapping stopped abruptly, replaced by an eerie silence. Then, a loud crack echoed through the forest, followed by the sound of something large moving through the trees. The friends huddled closer together, their eyes wide with fear. Jason's flashlight flickered and then went out, plunging them into near total darkness. The fire's light seemed weaker, the shadows closing in around them. The sounds of movement grew closer, more distinct. Branches snapped, leaves rustled, and the ground seemed to tremble beneath them. Suddenly, from the corner of his eye, Mark saw a shadowy figure move swiftly between the trees. He froze, his breath catching in his throat. The others saw it too, their faces reflecting sheer terror. Whatever it was getting closer, circling them, toying with them. In a desperate attempt to dispel the encroaching fear, Jason threw more wood onto the fire. The flames roared to life, casting a momentary reprieve of light and warmth, but it was short-lived. The tapping resumed, louder and more insistent, a sinister rhythm that seemed to echo their racing hearts. The friends realized they were not alone in the forest. Something ancient and malevolent was watching them, stalking them. The fire could only hold back the darkness for so long. The night seemed endless, their fear palpable. The dense canopy of the forest barely allowed the moonlight to filter through, casting eerie shadows on the ground. David, Claire, Jessica, and Mark had set up their camp near a secluded spot by a babbling brook. The group, eager to escape the pressures of their daily lives, had spent the evening around a campfire filled with laughter and stories. As night fell, the forest grew quiet, its usual symphony of nocturnal creatures replaced by an almost oppressive silence. The crackling of the fire and the gentle rustling of leaves in the breeze were the only sounds. The group retired to their tents, exhaustion overtaking their earlier excitement. David and Claire shared one tent, while Jessica and Mark occupied the other. As the night deepened, the temperature dropped and a cold wind began to blow. In the distance, A faint rustling sound began to grow louder with each passing moment. It wasn't the wind, it was something else, something moving through the underbrush. David was the first awake, a primal sense of danger snapping him out of his sleep. He listened intently, the hair on the back of his neck standing on end. The rustling grew closer, accompanied by the unmistakable sound of heavy, deliberate footsteps. He could feel the ground vibrate slightly with each step. Suddenly, a loud snort broke the silence, and the unmistakable silhouette of a large bear appeared at the edge of their campsite, illuminated by the dying embers of the fire. The bear was massive, its fur a dark, menacing shadow against the faint light. It sniffed the air, drawn by the scent of food. David's heart pounded in his chest as he nudged Claire awake, motioning for her to remain silent. In the other tent, Jessica and Mark were still oblivious to the approaching danger. The bear lumbered closer, its massive frame moving with a terrifying grace. It reached the campfire, now little more than glowing coals, and began to paw through the remnants of their meal. Jessica stirred in her sleep, the noise outside beginning to register. She sat up, rubbing her eyes, and then froze as she saw the bear just outside their tent. Panic surged through her, but she managed to stay silent, her mind racing for a way out of this nightmare. The bear, sensing movement, turned its attention toward Jessica and Mark's tent. It approached slowly, its powerful body causing the ground to tremble slightly. With a sudden, violent motion, it swiped at the tent, its claws tearing through the fabric like paper. The tent collapsed partially, trapping Jessica and Mark inside. David grabbed the small air horn they had brought as a precaution, hoping the loud noise would scare the bear away. He pressed the button, and the piercing sound shattered the night. The bear reared up on its hind legs, roaring in surprise and anger. It swiped at the air, confused by the sudden noise. Jessica and Mark took the opportunity to scramble out of the tent, crawling on their hands and knees to avoid attracting the bear's attention. They made their way to David and Claire's tent, hearts pounding, breaths coming in short, panic gasps. The bear, still agitated, began to search for the source of the noise. It moved toward David and Claire's tent, its growls growing louder and more menacing. David knew they had to act fast. He grabbed a flare gun from their emergency kit and aimed it at the bear. With a deep breath, he pulled the trigger. The flare shot out, a bright, fiery streak in the darkness, and exploded in front of the bear. Startled and blinded, the bear roared in fury and backed away, retreating into the woods. The bright light and the noise were enough to drive it off, at least for now. The group huddled together, adrenaline coursing through their veins. The danger had passed, but the terror of the encounter lingered. They quickly gathered their essentials, abandoning the destroyed tents, and made their way back to their vehicle parked at the trailhead. The drive back to civilization was silent, each of them lost in their thoughts, the reality of their close brush with death sinking in. The forest, once a place of adventure and escape, had revealed its darker side. They had survived the night, but the memory of the bear's attack would haunt them for years to come. Thank you guys for listening to the stories. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to Mysterious Shadows YouTube channel and like the video. See you in other videos.